Malcolm Turnbull, Bill Shorten outlined plans to boost Australian employment. Australian jobs are set to be the political football of 2017. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull and opposition leader Bill Shorten will both outline their plans for boosting employment in major speeches this week. Mr. Turnbull is gearing up to make his case for company tax cuts in a major speech to the National Press Club tomorrow, Fairfax media reports. Meanwhile, Mr. Shorten will deliver a speech to the press club today outlining an Australia-first jobs policy he intends to pursue across the year. The Turnbull government has spruiked its company tax cuts, which would reduce the corporate tax rate from 30% to 25% for all companies over 10 years, as an incentive for businesses to employ more staff. Fairfax media reports the government will put the legislation to a vote in the upper house before the end of March to secure the cuts before the May budget. Mr. Turnbull faces a battle to get the full cuts through the Senate, with key crossbencher Nick Xenophon still reluctant to support anything more than the first phase of the cuts, a 27.5% rate for all companies with a turnover of up to $10 million. Labour and the Greens oppose the cuts, while One Nation and Senator David Lange have indicated their support. Mr. Shorten will push for more job opportunities for young Australians ahead of foreign workers in his speech today. The Labour leader will outline the party's policy to secure 1 in every 10 jobs on major infrastructure projects for an Australian apprentice. Too many work visas are being used as a low-cost substitute for employing an Australian, not to address a genuine shortage, he will say. We cannot allow our country to become an unskilled enclave in a modernizing Asia. Mr. Turnbull savaged the opposition's latest protectionist tactic in an interview with Sky News this morning. If Bill Shorten's going to talk about 457 visas at the press club, he should turn up in sackcloth and ashes as a penitent confessing to his sins, Mr. Turnbull said. Nobody issued more 457 visas than Bill Shorten. He is the Olympic champion of 457 visas. Mr. Turnbull said the Labour Party's jobs policy was guaranteed to undermine employment in Australia. They have a series of job-destroying, high-taxing, high-borrowing policies that undermine incentive, undermine enterprise, he said. And their latest protectionist tactic that is absolutely guaranteed to destroy jobs. Shorten's Australians' first war cry. More Aussie youths will be assured jobs as apprentices on major infrastructure projects under a plan from Labour. And TAFE diplomas will be afforded more respect in an effort to end the Hunger Games between vocational education providers and universities, opposition leader Bill Shorten will tell the National Press Club in Canberra today. In an excerpt of Mr. Shorten's speech provided to News Corporation Australia, the Labour leader will vow to put Australians first when it comes to jobs. Mr. Shorten will say, if elected, his Labour government will ensure 1 in every 10 jobs on a priority infrastructure project will go to an Australian apprentice. In the context of the last election, that means at least 2,600 apprenticeship places, Mr. Shorten will say. The opposition leader will also reiterate Labour's stance to deny work visas to overseas employees when an equally skilled Australian is available. Too many work visas are being used as a low-cost substitute for employing an Australian, not to address a genuine shortage, he will say. We cannot allow our country to become an unskilled enclave in a modernizing Asia. Mr. Shorten will also say, if Australia is to outpace the rest of Asia on jobs and skills, that vocational education needs to be respected and invested in. No more Hunger Games between TAFE and university, he will say. Winning in Asia on our terms, as a high-skill, fair-wage nation, means putting vocational education back at the center of our system. That starts with saving TAFE, and it finishes with the world's best national training agenda. Mr. Shorten will deliver his National Press Club address from 12:30 p.m. at Today.